Hi FlossTube, today is Wednesday the 20th of September 2017 and I'm back for another FlossTube update. I have a lot to show you today, so I'm just going to get started. Today is my daughter's first day at preschool. She turned three weeks ago and she was really keen to get started and go to preschool, so I've put her in for 1 day a week and we're going to see how it goes. But she was really keen. As soon as I dropped her off, I went in there, talked to the teacher, and she was already playing with someone by the time I was leaving. So hopefully it's going to go well for her. The teacher told me to be a bit prepared for her to resist it after a couple of weeks, but we'll see how it goes. I wanted to thank everyone for commenting on my last video. You seem to really enjoy the whip parade. I've been enjoying everyone else's whip parade, so anyone who's done them, thank you so much. It is a lot of work. I realised that when I pulled mine out, just pulling everything out and then putting them all away, it does create a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun too to pull out whips that I hadn't worked on for a while and hadn't really seen for a while. So one person who commented on a couple of videos ago was Sandra Stitches. Hi Sandra, if you're watching. And she recommended, I was kind of talking about ironing my pieces, and I wasn't really sure how to go about doing that without using steam. And she recommended this thing, Best Press. I believe that she started using it after hearing from it from Vonna, the Twisted Stitcher, and I was kind of a bit hesitant because I thought that maybe the fabric would still, like the colours would still run on my fabric, and she said no, just use a light amount and it's like, it works like magic. And believe me, it really does. You just spray a little bit on your piece and it just iron it with a very warm iron, not a hot iron. You don't need a very hot iron, just a warm iron, no steam, and the wrinkles just come straight out. So it's really good. So yeah, if you haven't tried it, and you can get it in Australia, I will leave the link below of where I got it from, because originally I went through Amazon and it was going to cost a fortune just in shipping. So I looked a little bit closer to home and I found a seller on eBay who lives in Queensland, or who trades in Queensland, and yeah, it was fairly inexpensive. So I'll leave the link there, leave the link below for that one. Now I have, as you can probably tell from the title of this video, I have lots of finishes to show you, so yay! I have 3 FFOs and a couple of FOs. So let's get started with the FFOs. The first one I can't show you. I don't know if I've mentioned in my video before, but I'm 5 foot nothing. I'm really short, and the first FFO is already hanging up on my wall. My husband put it up there. He's a lot taller than me, which isn't hard, but and I tried to get it down using a stepladder this morning after he'd already gone to work, and I can't even reach it with a stepladder. It's behind a big kind of dresser, so I can't reach it. So I got on the stepladder and took a photo of it head on. So I'll insert the photo here. And that is Afternoon in Paris by Country Cottage Needleworks, and I finished that sometime, I think it was 2014. No, it was 2015 I finished that, and I finally finished it. So framed it myself, and it's now hanging on my wall instead of sitting in a drawer, so that's always good. And the next 2 I do have with me. The first one is Little Witch, which I finished earlier this year. I was doing this one for the Salem Not Forgotten sale, which is being run on Facebook by McKenna at Every Stitch Counts. That's Little Witch by Verbena, and this was a really cheap frame I got from Kmart. Again, just framed it myself, and I'll be able to put this up next month for Halloween. We don't really celebrate Halloween here. It's starting to come in a bit in October in Australia, but it kind of passed me by when I was like, it's only just started coming in, and you know, it passed my childhood by a little bit, but hey, putting this up in October feels like a good idea, so I'll do that. And then this one was a whip last time you saw it, and I'll insert the picture of what it looked like here. Well, before I do that, it was Wisteria Welcome by Mill Hill, and I'll insert the picture here of what it looked like last time. And now it is an FFO. So I finished it up. I was having a lot of fun beading that one. I did all the stitching, and then I just wanted to keep going, and I finished the beading, and I had this frame sitting in my craft room, and I used a white piece of cardstock for the backing. That's actually not a matte. The perforated paper is just sitting on top of the cardstock, and it looks like it's framed it well, so sorry about that glare, there's not much I can do about that, but yeah, so that's another finish, and that just sits on my sort of entrance table as you walk into the house. So they're my FFOs. Now, I also had some FOs. You may recall a couple of videos ago I had Gingerbread Village out, and I'd finished the second last house on it, and I was just keen to sort of get through my goals, and I only had one house to go, so I pulled it out and started Gingerbread House 8. Here's what this looked like the last time you saw it. And now it's done. Gingerbread House 8 is that one there. Yeah, I love it. I know I whinged about it the whole time I was working on it, but now that it's done, I'm so pleased with it. It looks amazing. I'm really, really happy with it. So, yes, it's done. Now, I was kind of debating, I also have Santa's Village as a whip. I've only done the first one. And I was kind of looking at the space I have in this house and hanging space, and I just thought having another, I've got this one now, I want to frame it and hang it up for Christmas. And I was just thinking, if I frame yet another piece like this somewhere, it's just going to be overwhelming. So what I'm thinking of doing for Santa's Village is maybe just having ornaments of each piece, so just doing one by one, and then I won't really need to have a deadline to have it done by next Christmas. I'll just kind of just work on each piece as I feel like it, and then I can just hang them up on the Christmas tree one by one. That's not a final idea, I'm just thinking about that. The reason I'm kind of hesitant is because I'm no seamstress. I have no idea what I'll be doing. Making them into ornaments isn't as easy as it sounds, and especially for me who hasn't picked up a sewing machine since I was in high school. So yeah, we'll see, but that's my current thinking on that. But yeah, here it is again. I changed the French knots to beads, so if you look at all the gingerbread men and the snowmen, they all have beads for buttons and eyes, and then some of the houses have red beads on them. Where is it? Yep, that one has, that house has a red wreath on it there, and this house here has red beads on its roof, and this one has red beads for its berries on just, I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, just on the sort of snow there. So yeah, the beads I used to replace the white thread for French knots, I used 03015. These are all Mill Hill beads. The black brown beads, which is, I think it was going to be 3321 was the DMC number. I replaced it with Mill Hill beads 42038, and for the red I used 02013. So they were just in my stash. When I do Mill Hill kits, I put them in, I put all the beads away and label them. So that's just what I had left over from some Mill Hill kits. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. I know I whinged the whole way through while I was stitching it, but now that it's done, I'm so pleased with it. So that is Gingerbread Village by Country Cottage Needleworks. I'm just going to pause and I'll go and get the other one. Last time you saw this, it looked like this. And it's my Lady of the Mist and she's done! Yay! She's all beaded up. She is magnificent. I love her so much. I just absolutely love the beads, the detail on her dress. She's done. And I couldn't be happier with her. She's just so beautiful. So I'm wanting to get that one framed. I can't wait. I've never had anything framed professionally before, so I'm on the lookout for someone that I can trust. So until I find someone that I can absolutely trust, I'm not going to get her framed yet, because I don't want to leave her with just anyone. So yeah, Lady of the Mist is done. That's another one of my goals I can tick off. She was stitched on 28 count opal linen in Atlantis by Stitches and Spice. Gingerbread Village was stitched on 32 count Lugana, opal Lugana in Manor House by Stitches and Spice. Stitches and Spice are no longer trading, unfortunately, but that's where I got those two pieces of fabric from, and they're beautiful. Both of them were recommended by the owner of Stitches and Spice. Both fabrics, I told her what projects I was doing and she recommended the fabrics, and I'm so pleased. I'm really happy with those. So if you want me to go into more detail of Lady of the Mist, please let me know below, and I will do that. But otherwise, you'll see her again when I finally get her framed. So that's really exciting. I'm going really well with my goals so far, so I think all I have left is a couple that I know I will get done, so I'm really happy with that. So alright, on to my other whips. I've had more people staying with us, and I just wanted one. I'd finished Lady of the Mist, I'd finished Wisteria Welcome, which was my small one. I finished Gingerbread Village, which I was doing on a Q-snap, and I kind of didn't have a small one that was in a Q-snap that I could just kind of take out, and I only had a few bits of, like a few pieces of floss I could work on just before everyone woke up. I'm an early riser, and usually when I wake up no one else is awake, so I quickly have a shower and then I start stitching until everyone else is awake. And I just wanted a piece that I could quickly put away when everyone woke up, because there were kids here, and Heidi's really good. She knows not to touch my stitching, but other kids don't, so I didn't want to leave my stitching around. So I pulled out the Stocking Faithful Friends, and this is another one of my goals. I wanted to finish page 2 by the end of this year. And the reason it's easy is it lives in a Q-snap, and it only has one floss box that I just pull out when I need it. So I was working on this while those people were here, those people being my husband's family, so not strangers or anything, but anyway, here's what it will look like when it's finished. Here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here it is now. That's still page 2 that I'm working on there. So yeah, that's page 2 of Faithful Friends. I'm working this one 1/1 on 25 count Lugana, which is my preferred method on, or my preferred fabric, I guess, for full coverage pieces. And my goal for this year is to finish page 2, which is probably has another 2 columns and a bit to go, and as well as this bottom bit that I still haven't finished. So yeah, there's that one. And then I had Happily Ever After, the September piece came out. So here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. This is it now. This is Happily Ever After by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It is being stitched on 28 count Opal Lugana in Ice Ice Baby by Colour Cascade Fabrics. And the one that I worked on this month was this block, and it's the Ugly Duckling. They have promised us at the beginning of the year, when they were kind of outlining what this would be about, they promised that one of the blocks would be, I think it was Sense and Sensibility or Pride and Prejudice. A Jane Austen one. And I love Jane Austen, so I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know when that will come out, but it will be in the next 3 months, October, November or December. So, by the way, how is it nearly October already? I just don't understand where the year's gone. Anyway, I also worked on Story Keep Secret Door, and here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. You may recall the last time you saw this, I was waiting on one thread, one DMC colour, to finish off the challenge for Haid, and I finished the challenge. I got the thread, I finished the challenge, and I did a little bit more on here. So, and here, I think the page kind of ends about there, and probably about there. So I'd like to finish the page. I don't want to start the new year with pages not finished. I'd like to have all my full coverage whips with page finishes, so that I can just start fresh in the new year. But we'll see how that goes. I've got a couple. I've got 3, I think, that don't have that have unfinished pages at the moment. So, but that is that one. I'm really enjoying this one still. So, and then let me just double check that's all I've got. Yep. And then the last one is Travel Through Europe by DMC. This is a freestyle by DMC, and I will link the group that I run that is stitching this. So feel free to join in on that one. We are now up to Vienna here. And here's where it was the last time you saw it. And here it is now. I finished, I believe that's the Shomron Palace. I have been there. It's a beautiful, beautiful palace. So if you look at the picture, there, that's most of the palace done. And then I just need to put, I think that's Mozart there. So I'll just put Mozart and stitch the rest of these kind of pathways. And then that will be done as well as the banner. And then there will only be 3 blocks left of that one as well. So that's moving along. That's another one of my goals, is to finish this one by the end of the year. there's only so much I can do each month because they're released block by block. So so I'm just working on it as much as I can each month. And then so that's it for my whips. Now I've got a little bit of haul. The first one was my July Fabric of the Month by Colour Cascade Fabrics, and this one is called Sweet Child of Mine, and this one is a Monaco, 28 count Monaco. It's a beautiful piece of fabric, it's really nice. I have switched over to Lugana because Tammy told me that the Monaco doesn't take dye as well as Lugana does, and she sometimes has problems dyeing the Monaco, and I was finding that it was taking a while for me to get my fabrics of the month. When she'd say that other people were getting them, I seem to always be straggling along, and she told me that was why. So I've changed over, so I'll be getting my August fabric of the month hopefully either this week or next week, and that will also be a Monaco, but then from September it will be a Lugana. So I got that, and then I bought the Cross Stitch Crazy that came with the free Emma Condon book. I really got it just for this. It also came with some metallic threads, which many of these patterns actually use these, so I don't know what these are going to be like. I don't know what brand they are, but they don't look like a name brand or anything, so I don't know. They don't look like they'd be much fun, but we will see how they go. And then this is the magazine. I'm sure other people have done flip throughs of this, but if you would like me to do a flip through, I'm happy to do that. The only one I was kind of sort of interested in doing was this one, and even then I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. I may look through it again and just see. I'm trying to find a better picture of it. Yeah. Here's that one. And this was designed by Lucy Heaton. So there. But yeah, I mainly got it for the Emma Condon book. So that's that. And then I bought, if you don't already know, Casa Sanina is a needle workshop in Italy, and they are raising money for the earthquake victims of Italy. So I think the earthquakes were last year and maybe this year, or maybe the year before last and last year. So they've had some really devastating earthquakes, and Casa Sanina is trying to raise money, along with some designers, raising money for the victims to rebuild and you know, fix up their towns. And Nora Corbett was one of the designers that donated a design to that kind of fundraiser, and I bought it. It's called the Ricamo per Renaissance. I'm sorry, I don't know Italian very well at all. I know that ricamo is embroidery, so I think only because of Passione Ricamo. I remember looking that up when I was stitching my mermaid from them. So yeah, that's embroidery. Per would be of, I think. I don't know what this word stands for, but yeah, this is a very light sort of image of what it will look like. You can't really tell from that. The thing that drew me to this was the that I saw other people stitching it, and I really liked it. It's a lot of whites and greys and beigey colours because it's kind of a stone statue, but it's just my cup of tea. That the statue, old statues of Europe are exactly what I've always loved to stitch. Not that I've stitched any, but I've always wanted to stitch one. So I'm really happy that this has come out, and that by purchasing it I'm actually helping a really good cause. So yeah, I think I might start this one soon. I can't show you another picture, I'm sorry. That's all I have. I think it was kind of very, I believe it was very quick, and the designers didn't have much time at all to design the pattern, so I don't think Nora had time to have a model stitched up. She only had time to sort of do the sketch. So yeah, that's that one. So maybe look it up on if you Google earthquake relief Nora Corbett, I'm sure pictures will come up of other people stitching it, so that you can kind of see what it looks like. And then I also got, now Haid was having a sale, and then I think it was 45% off. Sorry about my phone ringing. I can't turn it off because I'm waiting for a phone call from the preschool. They said they'd call me to let me know how Heidi's going. So if you heard that, I'm really sorry. Another piece of haul was Haid basking in love, and I'll insert a picture here. This is a newish one. As soon as I saw it, I wanted it. And then Haid had a 45% off sale, and the Australian dollar's been really good against the American dollar, and I thought I'm probably never going to be able to get it at this price again, so I decided to go for it. So I really like that one. I'll just go through my plans for the rest of the month. I want to finish the September block of Travel Through Europe. I want to spend next weekend on Juliet. One of my goals for this whole year was to spend one weekend a month on Juliet by Children Crafts, and I've decided that for September it will be next weekend. And then I want to start on London Bus by Chatelaine. I'll insert a picture here of what that looks like. And that one I plan to do for my dad's 70th birthday, which is at the end of the year. So that should keep me busy until the end of the month. I am kind of hoping to finish most of my goals by the end of October. That would not include finishing Happily Ever After and finishing Travel Through Europe, because the last blocks won't come out until November and December. But if I can get up to that stage where I only have Happily Ever After and Travel Through Europe left to go, I can just focus on Mervember in November, which I will be working on Emerald Mermaid by Mirabilia. If you want to know more about Mervember, I will leave details below. It's put on by Mirror on the Wall, a group on Facebook, and basically in November for this sale you start on one mermaid that is from Mirabilia. So I'm planning to partake in that with Emerald Mermaid. So yeah, if I can get up to that stage, all I have to do in November is my block from Happily Ever After, my block from Travel Through Europe, and then I can spend the rest of the month working on Emerald Mermaid. I would love to finish that by the end of this year, but I know that's not very realistic. It is probably a larger mermaid than many of her others. I noticed that a lot of others can probably fit on a fat quarter. This one needs a fat half. I will need to clarify that, but just a quick glance, and I thought, oh, this one's kind of large. So that's how I'd like to spend November, and then December it'll just be finishing off Travel Through Europe and Happily Ever After, and maybe getting things framed. I've been seeing a lot of people working on Chatelaine. Sarah from Stitching Mummy had a kind of event for her birthday, and that was to start working on a chatelaine on her birthday. Unfortunately, I just wanted to focus on my goals, and my goals don't really include any work on my chatelaine for this year other than London Bus, which I'm going to start hopefully before the end of this month. But I don't want to start any other chatelaine. I don't have any other chatelaines other than Alpine Seasons Gardens, which I've already started. And I don't really want to have more than one on the go for that one anyway. Before I spent, as you all know, chatelaines are extremely expensive to kit up. Not only are the patterns kind of expensive, but also kitting them up with silks and the water lilies and you know, all the material that goes into it is quite expensive. So I don't really want to kit up another one or buy another one or invest in another one until I've spent more time on the one that I'm currently working on, and until I know that I really do enjoy it. I have enjoyed it so far, but I've only really put in maybe 20 stitches. It's barely a start, really. And I started that, I think I started that for my birthday last year, actually, in December. And I only worked on it that day. I don't think I worked on it for more than that one day. So that's a shame. I really would like to get back to it. I've been seeing other people working on theirs, like I've said, and it's really inspiring me to get back to it, but I'm kind of conscious of my goals and I really want to finish those before I get back to that. So that's my plans for pretty much the rest of the year, really. I think that's it for stitching. I just have one book to review and then that's really it. I did have one question, sorry I didn't have Q&A today. It was one question, it was by Louise Burgundy Ice. I'm sorry if I've butchered that, Louise. But she just asked me about the designer of Juliet, which looks like this. I'm sorry to say that one's actually been retired. It is artwork by Takaki, who I believe is Japanese. I don't know much about that artist, but I do like the style. I don't know if it's a him or a her. I do like their style though. The designer or the charter of Juliet is Tilton Crafts, but unfortunately it has been retired. They are no longer charting it. The best you could do is contact Shelley, who is the owner of Tilton Crafts, and see if she has any hard copies left. I don't think you'd still be able to get a PDF, but yeah, the best you could do is ask. So I'm really sorry about that, but she's no longer designing that particular one. Okay, so the book I was reading last time I saw you, I was reading The Last Tutor by Philippa Gregory. It was basically 3 Grey sisters, Jane, Catherine and Mary, who they were kind of their tutors from their grandmother. I believe their grandmother or their great-grandmother. Sorry, I'm still a bit confused. But yeah, she was the sister of King Henry VIII. And one of them, Jane, who was the oldest Grey sister, actually succeeded the throne after King Henry VIII's son passed away. She was the only... So after Henry VIII's son, who was Protestant, his daughter Mary was the next heir to the throne, but because she was Catholic, a lot of English people wanted a Protestant or Church of England to come up into the next and be the next monarch. And so Jane Grey took over and became a monarch. She didn't want to, but she was kind of forced to by her family and other people who had their sights on the throne. She was known as the 9-Day Queen, and Queen Mary, who is Henry VIII's daughter, she's also the daughter of Catherine of Aragon. She took over and had her beheaded as an act of treason for pretending that she was a queen when clearly it was Mary's turn to be a queen. So it was that happened within the first 100 pages, so I'm not really giving much away about that. I didn't even know that there was a 9-Day Queen, as she was known. But yeah, she was the queen after Henry VIII's son. I think it was Edward or Philip. Sorry, I'm a bit unclear about that. But yeah, she was beheaded by Queen Mary. And then the next kind of chapters after that are from the point of view of Catherine Grey, who was her next sister, the second sister in that family. And she tells the story from her point of view as Elizabeth's lady-in-waiting. So Mary obviously dies soon after she takes the throne, and then Elizabeth comes into power, I guess, as the next heir to the throne. And this book described Elizabeth as a jealous monarch who didn't really reason things out very well. And to cut a long story short, I guess, Catherine Grey married for love. She didn't wait for Queen Elizabeth to give her permission, and she hid the fact that she got married. She hid the fact that she was pregnant right up until she was about to give birth. And when she finally told the Queen that she had to go into confinement to have this baby, the Queen had her put in the Tower. And so Catherine kind of was a prisoner for a lot of that time, because Elizabeth was jealous of... Elizabeth was in love with someone who was already married, and someone who came from a family that had already been in trouble for treason. There was no way she was able to marry for love, because the person she loved just wasn't a suitable king. So she was jealous of anyone who did get married for love. And this book kind of describes how that felt from Catherine's point of view, and then their younger sister Mary's point of view, who also married for love and was kind of given the same treatment. So it's kind of very sad, a sad part of that history. I didn't know that about anything about this family, really. So I didn't know much about the history and how that kind of went. So yeah, it was a good book. After the first, I found the first sort of half of the book a little bit slow going, but when it picked up, I got really into it, and I enjoyed it. So that was The Last Tudor by Philippa Gregory. I am reading another Philippa Gregory book. This one's about the Cousins' War. I haven't really been able to get into it just yet. I've been too busy, unfortunately. Yeah, life has been quite busy for me these last couple of weeks. So anyway, that's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave any questions or comments below. And I'll see you hopefully in a couple of weeks. Enjoy your stitching. Bye.